Cheerio! Welcome, fantasy golf enthusiasts, to this week's edition of the Fantasy Golf Sommelier for the 149th Open Championship at Royal St. George's Golf Club in Sandwich, Kent. Sandwich, Kent, in England. That is where we are this week, and I am extremely excited to be here with you. I've got some plays of the week for you. I think you're going to like them, or maybe you won't. I don't know. Comment on the video and let me know what you think about anything. This week we're in England. I mentioned that. And I'm wearing a little bit of a different coat than I typically wear. Usually I'm in a robe for the Fantasy Golf Sommelier, but this week I'm inviting you to high tea, English high tea. And you know what? Instead of real tea, we're going to go with some sweet tea vodka. You know, that's what we like here in the South. We love some sweet tea. Might as well throw some vodka in it. And it's pretty good. So, yes, welcome to high tea. High tea with the sommelier. It's really good. That is good. Strong. It's very strong, but it's good. So anyway, the English love their tea. They love their tea. Been doing it for years. You know, they got low tea, high tea, afternoon tea, all kinds of different times to have tea. I mean, all the time. And there's some differences there. There's a few differences. Low tea is actually considered to be like the more posh tea. Maybe that's like the cool people tea. And then, you got afternoon tea. That's like when I feel like the old people do tea. Like that's when like they're really like they're really kind of stuck up, and that's when they have their afternoon tea. That's the fanciest tea. And then you have high tea, which is later in the evening. You know, that's when you have that's when the fun starts, I think, really. Now, let's talk about some plays of the week, and we're going to start, as always, with the price like a Sutter home plays like a Caymus play of the week. And I'm going cheap for you guys. I'm going really cheap with Johannes Veerman at 6,100. I'm giving him 88 points. You probably never heard of this guy. He's actually from the United States. At least that's what the flag says beside his name. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a very American name, probably. Seems okay. But so anyway, I'm going really cheap. And here's the thing. This guy's had 2 top 10s in his last 2 starts. At the Scottish Open, he was 8th. At the Irish Open, he was 3rd. Okay, that's not bad, really, for a guy we've never heard of and in pretty good fields. Okay, 8th and 3rd. All right. He's made 7 of 13 cuts this year on the European Tour. Also not really all that bad for a guy at 6,100. He's top 50 on the European Tour in scrambling. He's fairly long off the tee. He's a good, pretty good ball striker, good on approach. So if you really want somebody cheap, low owned to fill out a lineup, maybe you're going studs and duds this week. Hey, I think he could do worse than Johannes Veerman, even up higher price than that. So he will be the price like a Sutter home plays like a Caymus play of the week. Now, more tea talk. Let's talk some tea, some high tea. Tea's been around a long time. I mentioned that over in England. It was actually a Hungry Duchess that originated the tradition of afternoon tea, the fancy tea. She was she just really wasn't feeling well, and she felt like she really needed to pick me up in the afternoon, and she wanted some tea. Now, if it were me and I wanted to pick me up, I wouldn't have tea. I'd be happy. Well, I mean, I had some sweet tea vodka is what I would do. That's what I would do. One thing they have with tea spoons, and kind of like me, when you are like, if I'm up somewhere not in the South, around the world, people probably like, that guy sounds like he's from somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I mean, if you're in the United States, you'll say, well, yeah, that guy's from the South. But if I was overseas, you wouldn't know where I was from, but you'd be like, he's from somewhere with a language deal. Okay. Well, scone and the way you say scone over in England actually is kind of a sign of where you're from. So some people say scone or scone, I think. or I don't know, maybe Skeen. I don't know, but there's some different pronunciations that people say scone, and that tells where you're from. It's kind of crazy, but anyway, let's get into the Boone's Farm Vintage Fade of the week. This guy actually, I liked him on the podcast. I have to admit, I liked him on the podcast. I thought he was going to be lower owned, and he's not going to be low owned. He's actually looking to be the second highest owned player behind Jordan Spieth, who's projected to be the highest owned player. Patrick Reed's right behind him. He's over 20% projected in GPPs. I don't really like that. There's just not a whole lot. Like, I like Patrick Reed. I think this is a good type of course for him. It's a good course fit. Great scrambler, all those kind of things. But do you really want to play that high owned Patrick Reed? I don't really want to. Okay. And you look at the stats. I mean, his driving accuracy is a little bit suspect. He's 84th in the field in greens and regulation. His ball striking in the wind is actually, if you look over his last 100 rounds, isn't that great? Kind of middle of the pack. And what has he done lately? I mean, Patrick Reed hadn't really done all that much. He really hadn't been in contention in the majors this year. He did win a tournament earlier this year, but I mean, I just, not a whole lot really excites me now as I looked further into Patrick Reed at 8,800. I'm giving him 78 points, and he will be the Boone's Farm Vintage Fade of the week. All right, before we get into the next person, I'm going to drink a little bit more of my sweet tea vodka. Thank you for joining me for high tea. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying your tea. Maybe you're having some other things with it to make it high tea. I mean, that could be fun too. I would probably add that to the tradition. Just something else with tea to make it high. Here's another thing. All right, so I'm lifting the tea cup here. Some people, they put their pinky out like that. You see that? The pinky? See the pinky? So they do that, and they think that's cool, and they think they're being hoity-toity and stuff. But you know what? I'm here to tell you that actually that's a faux pas in the English world. They don't really like that. You're not supposed to stick your pinky out, and it probably means makes you look like you don't even know what you're doing. Okay, and it's considered rude. Okay, so don't be sticking your pinky out all over the place when you're drinking your tea or whatever, thinking you're being cool, because you're not. Okay, so just tuck that pinky in, drink your tea, and get on with it. Stop with the sticking out of your pinky and stuff. Jeez. Anyway, next play is our Pop the Cork play. I know everyone loves the Pop the Cork play, and this is a guy that actually faded. He was the Boone's Farm fade at the U.S. Open, and he was a good fade. He was a good fade because he missed a cut. Matter of fact, he's missed his last two cuts, and that is Tony Finau at 8,400 on DraftKings. I'm giving him 92 points. Yes, not really coming in on good recent form. Okay, I understand. Probably not winning this tournament. I understand that. But I do think there's a lot of upside at 8,400, lower ownership, which he'll have. Okay, not as many people are on Finau this week, coming in on bad form, just like I said. But you know what? He's got a pretty daggum good tournament history for the Open Championship. You look at his last four starts, he's finished in the top 30 in all of them. He's finished in the top 10 in his last two starts in the Open Championship. That is not bad. I like that. I like guys like Finau here. I like his attitude. He's kind of laid back. Not a whole lot is really going to get to him this week. I think he'll play well in the different conditions. Looking at stats, I mean, Finau's fifth in scrambling in the field. He's top 30 in ball striking in windy conditions in the field. That's pretty daggum good. Like I said, the ownership's looking to be pretty low on Tony Finau. So I like that. I like the upside here. Like I said, don't think he's going to win. Definitely think he has top 10 potential. That's a lot. That's what you need out of a guy at 8,400 with lower ownership. So Tony Finau is going to be the Pop the Cork play of the week. Okay, I am going to drink some more tea. Woo, that is so good. So good. A little strong, but good. And I hope you all have a fantastic week for the Open Championship and get those green screens. I'll see you next week. That's all I got.